And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Well, I'm pleased to say that Guerilla Roundup is back with you for the tail end of the Women's Ashes from Australia. And we are very fortunate to have a new young Guerilla correspondent with us by the name of Toby Reynolds, who you may have come across previously. Welcome, Toby. How are you enjoying the whole experience?
Yes, but I mean, good start so far. Unfortunately, the result perhaps not exactly what the England fans or the neutral fans would hope from it. I mean, what 8-0 down now with 8 points still to go, so that's less of the good stuff. But otherwise, it was a great game. Really, it was very exciting till sort of the tail end. So happy generally, I'd say.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So just to let people who don't know, the England won the toss and put Australia into bat today. Australia scored 198 for 7, and in reply, England were all up for 141. That's a very, very brief summation of the situation. That the result means that Australia now have 8 points in the Ashes, with 8 points still available. So the Ashes will stay in Australia, but the series could still be drawn. So take us through the day from your point of view, from the toss and the team selections on through to the Australian innings, Toby.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started off unbelievably well for England when they won the toss, and it sort of went downhill very, very quickly after that. I mean, Georgia Vole on debut looked really, really good at the top of the order, sort of took the initiative and just allowed Beth Mooney to settle in and really play her own game. I think she was about 30 or 30 before just really exploding at the back end. She was by far the pick of the batters and player of the series, player of the match, player of the series, possibly with just one game down so far. And she was really, really impressive. Yeah, 75 from 51 and just sort of went ballistic, really just kept ramping it up as she went throughout the innings and ably helped throughout as well. Tolly McGrath down the back of the innings was phenomenal. 26 off 9, just striking at almost 300. Just sort of England didn't really know what to do with her, and I think that kind of yet again sums up what has been so strong with this Australian side is that the fact they've got someone like her coming in down at number 6. I think they had Grace Harris, who's a top order batter generally, coming in at number 7. Let alone some of the sort of tail enders or all rounders they really are down the bottom of the order.
It's a pretty daunting lineup to have to get through, because you get through one and another one just as good comes out. I gather that Healy and who was the other player who was out with injury? Ash Gardner were both injured, so that's what let Vole and Harris play, which isn't a bad replacement pair when it comes down to it, is it?
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, I think they obviously perhaps missed the informedness of Ash Gardner, who got 100 last game, took a couple of wickets. She's been fantastic and often seems to be the bane of England during these series. I remember she took 10 for maybe even, was it 14 maybe in the end? She got
I think it might have been, something ridiculous,
out,
yes. Yeah.
As well as just smashing us everywhere with the bat. And so I think that was obviously, you'd have hoped maybe sort of pushed England on to give them a bit more hope, but it didn't come out in the end. And yeah, Georgia Voles just set the tone early on. And I haven't even mentioned Phoebe Litchfield yet, who was brilliant. She hit some of the most unbelievable switch hits in the game today.
Yes.
Just sort of picked up off a couple of the spinners, just went. I thought she could be right-handed at one point, so she was just that natural with it, and she does just find sort of every which way of the field. And I mean, Beth Mooney commented on the in the press conference today, sort of saying how impressive it is. She is, she's only 21 and she's already one of the most important players to this Australian side.
That's an extraordinary thing, isn't it? You think of a team at its peak, and you sort of expect the aging of the stars to lead to its demise, and yet they're coming through really young and really strong. So it's a bit scary for everybody else. One thing you haven't mentioned, but I think deserves mention, albeit not in a flattering way, is the England fielding performance. Which
I'd
be watching.
there's much positive.
Well, I was watching the England under-19s playing earlier on, and they fielded a hell of a lot better than this team did.
Yeah, it's just disappointing considering when you look at what their sort of biggest demise was in the World Cup as well. Again, that West Indies game, and it doesn't seem like that it's changed necessarily. So it's perhaps common occurrence. You've got to maybe ask the questions behind the scenes, what's going on. Beth Mooney, yet again in the press conference, talking about how the Aussie women have just, I think hired a new fielding coach, so that's maybe shaken it up a little bit. So perhaps England could take a leaf out of that book there. But yeah, it was just comical as much as anything. I mean, the one that sticks out to me was Phoebe Litchfield just sort of literally chipped one up just over the top of sort of wide mid off kind of extra cover kind of region, and Nat Sciver-Brunt and Charlie Dean, two of England's sort of better fielders who you'd sort of just expect to take that comfortably, kind of both just said yours, and the ball just dropped down in between the middle of them, and they sort of looked at each other a bit dumbfounded as to what had happened there. Neither one really sort of taking the initiative, and I think that again kind of sums up the issues perhaps that are within this side, that it's maybe just continuing in that way, and their confidence maybe, or the lack therefore of that confidence that
Yeah.
really would the Aussie side really just have.
I think in our WhatsApp group, Mog may have used the word village in relation to England's fielding. Um, as far as the bowling was concerned, I thought Sophie Ecclestone was head and shoulders better than any of the other England bowlers today. I wasn't particularly impressed with most of them.
No, there wasn't a huge amount of pressure that was retained, I think, which is a big issue. You can see just from the first few overs, they were just leaking runs, just wides for fun. And I think Georgia Vole was given quite an easy, first ball to get some easy runs, which you think someone's on debut, they're going to be a bit nervous. That's the perfect time to cash in and try and really squeeze them and get the pressure. And yeah, I think maybe it was even a misfield or something that just let her just ease into it, and she went and exploded from there as well.
Well, it was a drop
Um,
catch that ended up going for four, wasn't there?
Yes, yeah. Lauren Bell, I think, dropped one over her
Yeah.
shoulder. And yeah, I think the first two overs went for 11 and 10. And I think the third wasn't too dissimilar either. So it sort of just allowed them to exploit the power play, which you really can't let this Aussie side do, because they are so strong,
Yeah.
and particularly when they've got such a long batting order beneath them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So 199 was equal to the highest successful run chase England have managed in T20s in the past. And I think it's fair to say there was some hope when they went out to bat. That got fairly quickly smashed, didn't it?
Yeah, the hope was quashed within two balls when Maya Boucher went. She got caught, I think, pulled out to the deep. And yeah, just a simple catch. And the even scarier thing in some ways was 3 balls later, Sophia Dunkley almost did exactly the same thing. I think she missed Wareham by about 5 meters, and it just about cleared the rope and went for 6. But it's just that I think that kind of, yeah, again is summing up, and it's what's been a continual issue with this England side. They've looked to be so aggressive in a similar manner to the men's side, and to be super aggressive and super positive, that you don't necessarily always need to be. There are times where you need to take a
Yeah.
second, have a breath, realize that you fall down for nothing. You've lost the wicket in the first over. That actually all out attack isn't necessarily the best option. And for a little bit, it was, I guess, with Sophia
Well,
Dunkley,
yeah,
and
I
it
mean,
paid off for
Danny
her.
Wyatt was out first ball, so the England were 4 for 2, but Sophia Dunkley was superb.
Oh, unbelievable! I think one of the best innings I've seen in women's cricket, at least. That just how comfortable it seemed to be coming to her at times. She hit some of the most gorgeous shots over the offside in particular. She used her feet, went over extra cover, down the ground. She was brilliant as well, and she looked to cow corner, to use her power there to clear the ropes as well. So with she ended up 6 4s and 4 6s. Just shows how easy it seems to be coming to her. She said it was a little bit too paced at times, the pitch, but generally a really good batting track, and she really exploited that in the same way that Beth Mooney did. And actually, she exploited it better, because she went from ball one. She just went out there, and I
Yeah,
think she obviously had a game plan England seemed to enjoy having their number three in particular be super aggressive. I mean, they wanted Alice Capsule to do that during the World Cup. Didn't quite pan out, but Dunkley seems to be maybe the person who can do that. She's yet to really solidify herself in the England setup, but perhaps maybe this is a turning point for her that will just give her that little bit more confidence to really go from this platform that she's given to herself.
Well, she was on mic on Channel 7 during the Australian innings, and she was asked how she would approach it. She said, I just think I've got to attack it from the word go. And that's exactly what she did. The first time I've ever seen a situation where a team reached 50 runs and not a single run had been run off the bat. All of England's scores was made up of 4s and 6s and extras. It's quite extraordinary.
Unbelievable. I think as well, it's the fastest 50 ever by an English woman against Australia. I think the second fastest ever by a female player against Australia. I think only Deandra Dottin in 2009, who hit a 22 ball 50, beats that 24 balls from Sophia Dunkley, which I think partly shows how strong Australia are, that this that rarely happens to them, but also how impressive a knock it was from Sophia Dunkley that she's managed to do that.
Well, while she and Siva Brandt and indeed Heather Knight were there was a sense of real threat to Australia at that stage. And I sort of sensed some nerves was setting in. But when Alana King came on and bowled Nat Siva Brandt with her first ball, it was a sort of sign of things to come, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think Alana King just bowled fantastically. Again, economy of under fives.
Yeah.
Just so impressive in a T20, just how much control she has, but also how attacking she can be. And you could see that, I think, when Siva Brandt dropped back to try and pull it, kept a bit lower, maybe misjudged it a bit. Perhaps it was just, the flight that did her.
It turned a lot too.
Yeah. And then similarly, I think that she also got Amy Jones, Heather Knight as well. Yeah. A few overs later, when England were looking very set at the halfway stage, 96 for 3.
Yes, they were well ahead of where Australia had been at the same stage, other than wickets falling. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. From there, they were basically, I think, in prime position. If they perhaps hadn't lost those early wickets, they would have been in an even stronger position. But considering they were, 2 down for 4, you can't really ask much more from how Dunkley reacted in particular. But alongside her, Siva Brandt and Heather Knight were the 2 most experienced players in that side.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, once Heather Knight was out, it was pretty much all over, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. That was the turning point, really. They just 3 wickets and 3 overs from there, and then they managed to claw it back a little bit in the middle with Sophie Eccleston and Freya Kemp, but really that was kind of it. Once those 3 final sort of senior batters went, that was always going to be a almost impossible task to get another 100 they needed when Heather Knight went over 100 they needed. And so, from there, it was going to be a mountain to climb, and it was, and they didn't really get near it in the end. And again, the tail, perhaps, obviously, it's not down to them ever, but they're still kind of yet to maybe leave an impression on the series, losing their final 4 wickets for 4 runs.
That's the thing that strikes me most about the difference between these 2 teams. A, their fielding, and B, the depth of the Australian batting order compared to England's. Once you get to Sophie Eccleston, she certainly can make some runs, but you feel like it's just about over for England. Whereas if you get to that stage with Australia, it's still got a whole long way to go. So, any more remarkable things on the field that you want to discuss at all?
I think that's the bulk of it, really. I guess to mention again, but Beth Mooney, she was fantastic, deservedly one player of the match, and it'll be interesting to see how she might cope over the rest of the series now that Alyssa Healy, they maybe hinted, might not be back for a little bit, and possibly Beth Mooney might be keeping in a Test match. They were suggesting they've obviously got a lot of other options as well, but that could obviously be quite a big impact. She joked that if she was keeping in it, she might not be able to walk after the game. So we'll see how she handles that.
Yeah. She's done a lot of keeping though, and she's not too bad at it either. So you got to go to the press conferences after the game. Anything come out of that of interest?
The big thing to me, I think, that was slightly interesting is Sophia Dunkley was asked about the sort of the fact that over in England there are kind of calls for a change in the leadership, which I think is
Yeah.
quite understandable with the struggles that England have had over the last sort of 18 months, year maybe.
Yep.
And she said, with full certainty that the girls and her are backing Heather Knight 100%. But she didn't mention John Lewis's name whatsoever.
That's interesting because it seems like it may be time for John Lewis Sale. I suspect his reign may be limited.
Yeah, I think come the end of this series, it's probably going to be time to move on. Interesting to see who England might look to hire and bring through. I mean, even before John Lewis was appointed last time, Charlotte Edwards' name has always been being thrown around. How successful she's been in domestic cricket. Maybe it'll be her time to step up, and she's obviously got a really good relationship with a lot of the girls, Southern Brave and Southern Vipers. She's coached as well as some of the WPL teams and everywhere else around the world. That maybe she'll already have that little bit of rapport. She played with a couple of them, I think. Maybe some of Heather Knight's early career. So that again, maybe another good reason that she could be a good option. But yeah, again, they might look to go somewhere completely different and maybe hire someone from outside English cricket, and try and shake things up a little bit in that way.
I think it'd be great to see a woman coaching a women's team. There's too little of it at the moment. Anything else? So who did Australia put up for the press conference?
They're Beth Mooney, who I think rightfully was asked a lot about her innings and about the Ashes retention, which you can tell they were obviously thrilled about, and rightfully so. They're still, you can tell, laser focused though on the next game, and they really want to win, because obviously the fact that they only retained the Ashes last time out, I think, was that a little bit of still kind of longing that they were still missing. They didn't quite win it, so I think this time they're really looking to take England out, and they said they're focusing on 10-0, but whitewash is definitely going to be in the back of their minds. And to sort of almost embarrass England in that way would be a sort of phenomenal feat from their perspective.
Yeah. Well, you feel like England need to do something just so that they can. There's a sense of missed opportunity right through this series so far. There's been these points where it looked like they had a chance, and then suddenly it's gone away. And the actual scale of the defeats, I think, exaggerates the difference between the two teams, because I guess it's one of the things with white ball cricket. Once it becomes really hard, then all of a sudden it can fall away quickly. But from the point of view of the excitement of the series, it is disappointing that there's nothing other than a drawn series for them to play for anymore. So you're in Canberra next on Wednesday, or
Canberra on Wednesday, yeah. Adelaide after that.
Sorry, Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Thursday, possibly. Actually, the 23rd it is. Thursday, yeah.
Sorry, so Tuesday in Canberra, Thursday where?
Thursday Canberra, Saturday Adelaide.
Oh, sorry, right.
And then,
shit. So the Canberra forecast for Thursday isn't that fantastic at the moment. Medium chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon and evening. So that could make it interesting.
Yeah. Well, that'll be one way for them to seal victory, I guess.
Well, let's hope not. Oh, well, it's been fantastic to have you with us. So nice to get the Roundup back on again. Thank you so much, Toby. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we call it a day?
No, I think that's everything. I'm sure over the next week and a half, we'll be discussing so many more of these topics, and I'm sure the same themes will keep cropping up if this England team can't find form again.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Well, let's hope we see something a little more competitive in the next couple of games. Okay.
So.
Well, thank you very much, and good night.
And now it's time for Guerilla, a Roundup. They'll let you know what